My one and only chance. And I thought of an idea for a Halloween stream as well. It's right here. I'm going to make a little visual for it right now, actually, and put it in the corner of this stream. So let's do that now before we get started. And while we, you know, come up with ideas for Carol's tragic, disturbing backstory, we'll carry on with the dialogue for scene 3 that we started last stream. Goal is to get that finished today. That'll be lots of fun. Okay, so I'm going to just make a graphic. Where should I make it though? I'll make it here. It's not going to be anything beautiful or anything. It's going to be, you know, remind or tell people what's going on today. Just zoom in on it. In fact, we're going to move Rose across because she's getting a bit in the way there. Away. Okay, so what we're going to write in here then? I want to get lots of emojis in here. What's a good Halloween emoji? Actually, no, we won't have too many because we're going to have a Carol emoji instead. Well, a Carol graphic. She needs to be the one that the spotlight's on. I've already got my tragic idea for Carol, but it's, you know, it's okay. I think it can get even better. Okay, now let's make it pretty now. We've got the text in, but we've got to make it pretty. Okay. I'm gonna unbold it and just bold certain words. Do we have many nice fonts on here? Yeah, they're all plain fonts on Draw.io. Just your standard ones. Okay, where's Carol's emoji? She's got to be somewhere. Let's go hunting for her. I've got so many folders, I can never find anything. There she is. Will she get pixelated if we make it bigger? No, she won't. want to get her there, but she covers up the text. We might have to... Hi Proto, how you doing? There's a guy I met in college who lives in Mississippi that all the women in his neighborhood were built like barrels. Well, that is really cool, because barrels are the most wonderful thing in the world, right? Gotta love Carol's thick, beautiful physique. She's a real dream for anybody. That's why she's our main romance in the game. How are you doing, Proto? I hope you're doing good. We give it this background. Yeah, that's more Halloween-y colour. That's good. Let's make the font a little bit. Let's give it some nice colours. What's a good colour for tragic? Blue? Yeah, tragic's a good colour. Disturbing. Creepy. Let's get some emojis. Forgot the emoji. Oh, there it is. A good creepy emoji. Yeah, that's a good creepy emoji. Carol equals thick. LOL, this game is going to be rated M for mature. It probably is actually, Proto, because it's really not anywhere close to a children's game, and we were kind of thinking it could be a teen, older teen, but there's going to be some real like twisted themes in, and it kind of like limits our creativity to feel like we can't put that stuff in, because I kind of am very keen on darker themes. I mean, we got the light-hearted sort of charm in Raindrop Chronicles, that's for sure. We're also starting to come up with some dark ideas as well, and I don't want you guys to hold back. We're gonna get dark today. It's Halloween stream, so don't hold back from like super like disturbing. I'm talking there's no age limit on this. Get creative, everybody. And I'm excited. I've got an idea myself, but it's pretty tame and pretty standard. We can go wild, I believe. I'm doing all right, just cleaning up around the house. Oh no, not chores. But sometimes it can be nice to, you know, clean, and because it's satisfying. It's better than having like a mess around you, I suppose. Tragic would be this emoji, of course. Right, so that's perfect. Now, what we got to do now is add it on the stream. So, print screen. We're going to open Photoshop. You know, add it in the corner somewhere. Because otherwise, if we didn't do this, people will come in today, won't even know what we're doing, and then we'll get no ideas. We might still get no ideas, but you never know. Okay, here we go. New. I'm going to hide Photoshop for a sec, because if I paste it, we'll see my whole entire monitors. So I'm going to just crop first. Crop. There we go. We'll get rid of how's that looking? We'll crop it a little bit more, just to the edge. You know what would be kind of scary? If one of the barrels was boiled in hot water and then twisted and stretched, that might be a bit scary. That sounds really dark. You know, I like it. I'm going to be adding all these to a big sheet today, chat. So no matter how crazy it is, no matter how wild, it's going to get added to the sheet. Something has made Carol the cynical person she is, you know. She isn't going to just hate humans for no reason. She's got a good reason for it. She's experienced some trauma potentially, I think. I don't know why the Carol emoji has done this. Okay. Okay, now let's add it to the stream. Because we got our story suggest-a-thon logo there, but we will hide that today and put the Carol one there instead. So we haven't really been doing the story suggest-a-thon lately. It's been mainly dialogue streams. But we will be going back to it. We're doing lots of those streams for months. Okay, it's a bit big, isn't it? Let's hide Photoshop. Yeah, we don't want it covering the entire stream. But if we do that, you can still see the text, I hope. I can. Right, let me know, chat, if that text is legible. Hopefully it is. Hi Vandalib, how are you doing today? Happy Friday. Happy Halloween stream. Last minute I decided to do this because Kung put in a picture in the Discord of some bat earrings that she bought, and I was like, oh wow, that's it, I'm dressing up as a bat today. And it happened. I hope you're having a good day, Van. Okay. So. One sec, everybody. I'm going to just hide. I'm going to just check something. Oh, we've got some weird line thing going on the image, which is unfortunate. So let me just fix that, because it makes that. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, but it kind of just makes the graphic look a bit bad. So I'll just fix that first. I think it's showing up on oh, it is now. That should look a bit cleaner. Just got rid of those edges. Okay, is it going to update it? I think it wants to. We won't fuss too much because we've got lots to do today. But here I am. I'm still going back to fixing it. Just looks really nasty with that white line there. Now that should 100% get rid of it. It doesn't. There's something weird's going on. I think that's fixed it. Yes, it has. Huzzah. Got a bunch of work to do, but happy Halloween to you. Yes. Have a good work week, and I hope everyone's dressed up for Halloween at the workplace. Okay. Cross that off. Okay, I'm going to get a document up now, folks. Okay, so we're going to be carrying on with this, of course, today, because the goal is to get main quest 3 done. Main quest 3, sorry, scene 3. Of main quest 1 done. So we'll be carrying on with that too. But first of all, I want to make a new document as well. Well, actually, we'll just put it down here underneath, just so we don't have to have as many tabs open. And we'll call this already got one from me, and we got one from Proto Man as well. Dang, you're on scene 3. I missed some stuff. Yes, well, what it is, I mean, here's our dialogue trees. We've got them all in the little Bible. Scene 1 and 3 were already done ages ago, but they weren't very fleshed out. There was only like 1 or 2 dialogue boxes from Carol, and she just abruptly joined the party. So we're just like really just expanding on those scenes and having more of a conversation and a more emotive from Carol, just to make her a stronger character and to intrigue the player even more. So that's been what we've been doing the last few streams, just expanding the opening scene, scene 1 and scene 1 and scene 3. And here we go, Law Bible. If anyone wants to look at the dialogue trees we've done, they're there. And next week, probably Monday, I'm going to work on getting main quest 2's scenes in, because they're already all there. The dialogue's done for the first 4 scenes at least, so I will be getting them in next week. And then probably before the special stream 200 we'll have time to finish scene 5 of main quest 2 as well, the one with the fruits. At the when we kill them or keep them alive, so we'll look at that next week as well, because it was kind of unfinished. A scary thing would be, while the characters left Everbloom and rode through the farmland, a monster came out of the field, like with a hayride. Oh, we'll get all these down. And guys, even if, say, like, the idea or concept doesn't fit Carol in particular, because it might not always be a fit, some ideas, you never know, it could be a backstory for somebody else, like another NPC. So there's a chance that any really cool ideas could be recycled if there's potential there with them, and it feels like it could work for someone else, because we're gonna populate Lakefall with many NPCs, and they've all got their own histories and stories as well. But yeah, ideally we do want to think from Carol's perspective right now, I guess, and we know that she doesn't like humans. She's got a real attitude with the hero. Let's just delete that because it's all the whole dialogue. She's got a real attitude with the hero, and there's a reason why she's like that. She's not going to just be like that for no reason. So let's get the list up. Thank you, Kaj writes, Cajiton writes. Oh my gosh, me and my pronunciation. Welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for that follow. I hope you have a wonderful day. Get rid of the strike through. Okay, so. And what I'm going to do, anything that pops up today, like I said earlier in the stream, no matter how wacky it is, no matter how, even if it's not like necessarily the best fit, it's going to get added anyway. Because I'm going to read through it all and curate them, a bit like I did with the title ideas for episode 1, and pick out the ones that are going to work. And then in between that, we're going to just carry on finishing scene 3 from last week. Okay, so my idea was, I'm going to put mine in first, but mine's the most basic. Mine's like the most standard backstory we can get here. And it was, I actually put my idea here. And there's a maybe in front of it at the moment because, we'll delete that now because... there's a maybe because I always knew that this event from her past might not, it might be different from this. So I'm going to just copy and paste that. And write it down. And then we'll get Oh, hi, Grim Exiled. How you doing? I completely missed your message. I hope you're still here. No, I don't think no. I see your game is still going strong. Very nice. Last I was here, you were building a caravan animation and such. Oh my goodness, yeah, that was a while back. That was when we were doing the flashback animation for Carol. I remember that time. Yeah, that's my idea. So very, like, you know, standard. But you never know. Some cool ideas could come off from that. I'm going to put me there. Why does it go weird? I want it smaller though. There we go. Just so it's not so huge. Sorry I'm late, Rose. Hi Azriel, how you doing? So good to see you. Happy Friday. Happy Halloween, Rose stream as well. It's not officially Halloween today, but considering I'm not streaming on Halloween, I'm doing it today. I'm having a special stream where we're going to share dark, twisted ideas for Carol backstory. I got lost in the new core game engine and have been busy there. I thought I could come say hi and watch where you were. Awesome, well, it's lovely to see you, Grim. And yeah, we're coming up to stream 200, so it's pretty crazy. But it isn't, because really we're still very early on, like super early on in the development. So 200 streams is like nothing in the grand scheme, I think, at all. But we are working on getting a first playable build on the way. Early in the year, next year, we're looking at, and that'll be fun. Super fun. And stream 200 is going to be a celebration stream, folks. There's a couple of announcements I'm going to be making on that stream. You guys already know one of those. The logo, the new title for episode 1 will be having an updated logo, and there's another one as well. Another thing I'm going to be mentioning as well, which is, it's very good stuff, fun, exciting stuff. So, huzzah. And do the barrels have a maker builder in the story? Maybe you could introduce an evil human to your idea here. Yeah, there is quite a bit of lore surrounding the barrels, actually. There's even a lore video on the YouTube about it. I don't know if I've still got the command for that video though, but the YouTube channel is here, and if you scroll down you'll find it. There's a special playlist called Lore Discussions, and it's the only video in there right now. But yes, there is a backstory. It's even kind of on the Lore Bible a little as well. The barrels have come to life from a spell. It's as simple as that. We know the antagonist behind them, so there are things kind of already there. There's already that outline, but there's a big question mark on what their lives have been like since they've been barrels and since they've been alive. What have they been doing? We do have, I mean, we could have a look at the timeline, because we do have a timeline on the Lore Bible, and here's the Lore Bible, everyone, if you want to have a peek. We have the lives of Carol and her family timeline, and oh yes guys, if you haven't seen what Carol's family look like, here they are. Though she's currently separated from them right now, it's kind of her goal in the story to find them. We do have a timeline here, but it's not very detailed so far. But we know a spell was cast, and that was the cause of their birth. First, Elvira and Hank come to life. Then 2 other barrels that were Carol's parents came to life, Generation 2. Then Carol, Meryl and Woody came to life. And then Oliver came to life. So there's like every 3 months there's new things being born. And by this point, yes, there's quite a few living things alive, because it's been going on for just over a year now. In the beginning, it was very few, and it's just slowly built up. And they formed a community, obviously, because they feel like they're the same and they're comfortable around each other. They feel like they've got a place to belong. But then an event happened. That was the cart hijacking, which was what I was doing the animation on. And Carol lost them. And then she met the hero. So really that's the current Carol timeline. But come on, there's going to be more events going on. It's not like Carol was just born, hung out with her family for a bit, lost her family, and then met the hero. There's going to be many events that has happened in her life already. So this is what today's stream is about, because it's all about thinking of a twisted backstory for Carol that made her the person she is today. She's extremely cynical. She probably has a good reason for being cynical. We don't want to make a character that's angry and cynical for no reason at all. There's got to be a backstory that kind of explains why they are that way. So it's going to be fun. We've already got a few ideas, so we're going to be getting them in today, and we're going to be building them. I'm hoping getting more and more. That's brilliant though. Yay. Thank you very much, Graham. Okay, so that's my idea. Let's get some more in. Now, they might not all be like completely full concepts, and that's fine. There don't have to be a full backstory here that we think of. It can just be thoughts, random musings and ideas. And looking back in chat, Proto Man said something interesting. I'm literally going to write it word for word what you guys say in chat as well. Well, it's definitely nightmare fuel, this idea is, so I kind of have, I'm not gonna lie, I have a soft spot for nightmare fuel. So I mean, the event in itself couldn't have been bad enough to kill Carol, of course, because she's still living and breathing today, but you know, she could have been close to death many times. And then that's kind of like the reason why she's so adamant on being with the hero, because she wants to be protected by someone who can fight. After everything that's happened and all the horrible things and murderers, those human murderers tried to hurt her, perhaps. It makes sense that she'd want a sort of bodyguard to kill everything in a way. And hi Danik, I'm so sorry we only speak English here. I've had a few non-English peoples coming in lately, but unfortunately we only speak English here. Hi Moon Shadow, do you like my bat costume? Thank you very much. All ready for Halloween. How are you doing, Moon? I hope you're having a fantastic day. But people have started to put in Halloween like creepy ideas that are generic ones as well, like Met had a generic idea, so I'm also gonna disturbing story ideas. Carol It's a bit smaller. So, because the one that Met said was pretty interesting, it's worth noting down, though it might be a not related to Carol specifically, so I'm also gonna do a general one. I'm so sorry, Danica. We'll have to time you out because I don't understand what you're saying, and it could be bad stuff. You might not be. You might be saying, oh, fine, something completely fine, but because I don't understand it, I'm being on the safe side here. To Adorbs, I'm doing all right. How's my twinsy doing today? Not too bad. I'm all ready for creepy stories. I wanna have some creepy stories told to me today. I want to be spooked. It's Halloween after all, so that's what I want today, to get spooked. But I don't get scared easily, funnily enough. So it's going to be hard. It's going to be very hard to do that to me. I should have tried to translate. Yeah, right. I would do that too, but I just don't have the time because we're busy doing this. Streamer problems. I got another one. Someone climbing in a barrel and breaking it from the inside out. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You know, a lot of your ideas, guys, are going to be ones that actually kill the barrel, aren't they? But as Carol can't be dead, but I love the idea of listing horrible ways that barrels can die. So I feel like this deserves another list as well. Okay, so what should we call this? Horrible barrel fates. List of horrible barrel fates. Let's get an emoji. Scared emoji. Cat face. Okay, so this should go here. You never know, some of them could work with Carol's story, but if anyone like gives ideas that where the barrel would probably have died because it's that gruesome, then it's probably better to go on the list of horrible barrel fates. If it's something that's just really tragic and horrible, then it's barrel related, but it wouldn't have caused anybody to die, then it could very much be a Carol tragic backstory idea. So yeah, this is fun. Now Met had some ideas too, so let's read them as well. Let's read them all. Oh my goodness. A human took one of the barrels from the generation that between her and her grandparents, thinking it was a regular barrel, and did the ride a barrel over the edge of a waterfall stunt, never to be seen again. Oh my goodness, let's get it in. So yeah, that's actually mentioning one of the barrels from the generation between her and her grandparents. That's a really interesting thing because we haven't really discussed that much yet. It's just unknown who they were, and I like the mystery, but that's a really good point. The fact that they're not around, that they're no longer like in the flashback, or it kind of indicates that they probably did die. These two barrels did. And if they are Carol's parents, which obviously they would be because they're in the generation between Elvira, Hank and Carol and Meryl, who were the grandparents of Carol and Meryl, it would make more sense if Carol lost her parents, if Carol's parents died a really gruesome death, that kind of would it gives her it's more personal then for why she'd hate humans so much if they were responsible for it, because you know, I like her. Let's note this all down. Someone climbing a barrel and break it for, yeah, we'll get all this in. Don't just feel free to say it all, chat, even if I like get behind, don't worry, because even if I don't get them all in today, I'll be looking through the pod anyway after stream and putting in any I might have missed, because sometimes I do miss things because it can be hard to keep up sometimes. But let's get, there was one from early on that met Tad, so I'm going to get that in. And that was more of a general idea. We'll get that in first. So this would actually, I feel like, I mean, this one could go in the Carol backstory ideas, but I'm going to put it in the list of horrible barrel fates instead, just because it affects barrels that aren't Carol specifically herself. If it involves Carol specifically, I'll put it in the Carol backstory idea, but it's still kind of, you know, it's relates to Carol if it's her own parents. So, but still, it's probably a good idea to have to make multiple lists so we can categorize. Okay. Restart that number. Now, why won't it restart that number in? There. Done. Oh, thanks for giving the ideas, guys. I can see that you're giving some ideas and I'll get caught up, don't you worry. Here's another one, some continuous stuff. So barrel until it breaks, basic what a horde would do. Oh my god, that's so dark and horrible. Something, I'm convinced now that the barrels that would have died, these horrible fights, would have been Carol's parents. So I'm going to actually put in brackets the way Carol's parents died. A list of horrible battle fights for the way. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So oh my goodness, we're getting a list, folks. I'm gonna definitely need the time to process all these ideas, that's for sure. So I'm not going to properly take them in today, although I might have a read once we got them all down. But let's get the rest of them in. We haven't missed any since the hayride idea, did we? No, I don't think so. So the next one after that, someone climbing in a barrel and breaking it from the inside out. Let's get that one in. Someone climbed in a barrel and broke it from the inside out, and that was Proto Man. There we go. Just put a gap in there so we could get that on the same line. Okay. Oh, I figured it wouldn't be her personally, but another barrel she saw hurt. Maybe the ones that are missing from the generation between. Yes, I think that's a great idea. In fact, when it comes to, I was having a think, and I actually watched a video on this subject when someone has a misbelief so strong, like Carol, for example, when it comes to despising other like people and humans and stuff. When they have a hatred like that that's so strong, it's not usually just one event that's made them that way. It can be multiple events that have happened, because then it's just that misbelief and hatred is just so much stronger when it's happening, when it's continuously happen throughout their lives, because then it feels like they feel they're right even more. It's been constantly cemented over and over again that humans are bad because of all continuous horrible things happening. So I could imagine that we're not going to just pick one of these. I think we could easily pick a series of events that kind of happened throughout the timeline to Carol since she was born, and she like honestly believes that humans are the worst now because of all this that's happened, that she constantly has had to see, and she's gonna learn that that isn't the case, of course, because the humans on the journey and the party will be nice to Carol. Well, one day. There's a character arc there. They might just tolerate her in the beginning, but eventually a bond will form. That's what we're going to do. Okay, so here's another one. Yeah, let's get that one in as well. Someone continuously stuffs a barrel until it breaks. Basically what a hoarder would do. There we go. Maybe the barrels slowly become warped and weak due to continuous use weather. Then they are used as firewood when they aren't able to be used anymore. Oh yeah, firewood. Like, there's been a lot of mentions during streams about barrels dying from firewood, and Carol being threatened to be turned into firewood by the hero and stuff, which would be very silly because Carol's holding their inventory, so that would burn too. But the idea is really good for that, so we're going to get that down. And the weather affecting them is an interesting thing too. Potentially that's quite an interesting concept, because where would barrels get their shelter? This comes back to the, you know, the triangle of needs that we looked at a week or so ago. That everybody at the most basic needs food, water, shelter and warmth. Now we know that barrels don't need to eat or drink because they don't have the same digestive system as us. They don't need all that. So that's one nice thing for barrels, but they're also is the thought of, well, what about shelter and things? Like, they could just obviously go in some abandoned building, or they probably spend a lot of time in wagons and carts, but sometimes they might just be left outside, and yeah, eventually they would get a bit battered and a bit old. There we go. Or just use her to hold something gross like animal skins for tanning. Yeah, so that could be something that affected Carol then. So anything that doesn't involve a barrel actually dying can definitely go in the top list, because that could be Carol. She survived, but she was grossed out enough or disturbed enough or annoyed enough to sort of develop a hatred to humans because of that. But yeah, if it's going to be something that kills a barrel, it'll go in this list, and that can be the parents. Poor parents. Okay, so humans. Okay. Yeah, that's another thing, I guess. What do the barrels have inside them when they travel on wagons? We know that the kind of antagonist, Chub Cheeks' character, has this motive to use them for raindrops, to store raindrops and that. So there's a chance that they'll have raindrops in them later on in the game because of that. Well, there's a wet version of Woody, so it's pretty clear that that's going to happen, that they're going to get used for raindrops. But obviously in the present day and in the past, other things will be stored inside them. There's probably something inside them when they're on the wagon in the flashback as well. We just don't know what yet. Someone might have said this one, but someone throwing up in a barrel, someone going to the bathroom in a barrel. Oh my goodness, that's disgusting but amazing. Funnily enough, we haven't had that idea yet. And that could have happened to Carol, because that wouldn't necessarily kill a barrel. It would just make them feel like horrified and be disgusted. But then again, we have to think, like, when the hero's inside of Carol here, she's like, get out, so gross. Nobody's ever been inside me before. I feel so violated. So from that line, nobody's actually been in Carol before. But that still doesn't mean someone might not puked in her before or used the bathroom in her before. And it would kind of explain why she's so defensive about this. If something like that happened to her in the past, she'd because she wouldn't want that happening again. Potentially, she's a bit like grossed out, thinking that better not happen again. That was a horrible memory when someone did that in me. So it kind of explains why she's so like going crazy at this. So let's get that in. keep copying and pasting it and the formatting goes weird. But if I copy and paste it in Notepad first, then it's okay. Someone threw up in a barrel. And someone went to the bathroom in a barrel. There we go, that'll do. I'm going to say which ideas, guys. We're getting a list. You never know, we could get even more before the end stream. We've only been streaming for an hour, so there's definitely a chance to get more. And while we're waiting for more, we'll just carry on with writing scene 3. I was doing last time. Okay. Thanks so much, guys. There's a lot of tragic stuff in the works here. Just thought of this. Termites living inside the barrel and eating it. Yuck! Oh my gosh. Yeah, that could be a horrible death for a barrel. Yeah, pretty nasty. I mean, nobody would be at fault for that. That's just nature's fault, isn't it? But a human could have been the reason why it happened, because I left it outside. Or put it in an area that caused the termite. They neglected the barrel, and someone's responsible for neglecting the barrel for that to happen. Yuck. Poor barrel. Feel sorry for Carol's parents already, and they're not even characters yet. But it gives us an opportunity to make 2 more barrel characters. That'd be fun. And although they're dead now, I don't hold back from using flashbacks in this game. In fact, I find flashbacks really fun and a good way to learn about a character's history. So I'll be all for showing some of this stuff happening in flashbacks potentially. It's a way for us to feel really bad for Carol. Carol would have probably had to have witnessed this happening for it to have the impact on her that it has. Oh, I said earlier, Carol could have been used by the farmer to store juice when they squeezed that living fruit. Maybe she was even talking to it before the farmer showed up. Yes, now I remember actually the idea of a farmer squeezing a living fruit, and I think that's a good idea because it gives a good reason for why the fruits once again hate humans so much, because we know that the fruit's goal is to conquer Lakefall in revenge. We know that they've done cruel things to the fruits, such as like baking them into pies and squeezing them into juice, from dialogue in that scene. And the question is, like, the interesting thing about that is that the humans don't even necessarily have to have done it on purpose. They probably might have not even thought the fruits were alive, so they did it just unknowingly, realising they was not alive. But some, if there could easily be a couple of horrible humans out there that would kill a fruit if they saw it alive, because some would. But not every human in Lakefall is going to be evil at all. We're going to fall in love with some human characters because we need to make sure there's good and bad in both races, that's for sure. Hi Kung, how you doing? And hi Zayva as well. Do you like me dressed up as a bat today? Dressed up today? Awesome indeed. It's a Halloween stream. So I thought, and in fact, Kung, it was you. I saw the bat earrings in the Discord and it just made me think, oh my goodness, I have some bat ears myself. I'm gonna wear them today and have a Halloween stream, a proper Halloween stream. And we're getting into the theme as well by talking about creepy and disturbing and tragic backstory ideas involving barrels. So so yes, very, very dark streams today, and we've had some interesting ideas already. So I'm going to copy Metz now. Maybe Carol liked the fruit she was speaking to, and you know, I think before Carol was probably once a very kind person in her younger years as a barrel, but the events have made her cynical. And we kind of get a glimpse into Carol's softer nature in the flashback on the cart when she talks to Oliver. In fact, I might try a little bit harder to make her, I might edit the dialogue just a touch to make her a little bit softer in that flashback, just so we can really see the contrast between old Carol and new Carol. She needs to clearly be a lot more cynical in the present day compared to her past flashbacks. So feel free to read through this list, everybody. We have some pretty horrible deaths for barrels as well, because one thing we looked at was the fact that we looked through the timeline on the Lore Bible of the generations of barrels coming to life, and there are 2 barrels that have a missing generation here. We know that Hank and Elvira are Carol's grandparents, but we've not met her parents in the flashback, so it kind of tells us that something must have happened to them, like they died, and we kind of have thought, yeah, they probably did die, so they probably died very horribly, and that is probably a reason why Carol hates humans so much as well. So she's gonna just have had the worst experience with humans ever. And part of the game's character arc with Carol is for her to go on a journey and adventure where she sees that humans can be good, and not just humans but other non-barrel races as well can be good. Yes, bats for the win. Yes, bats are the best. They're very underrated creatures. I hope you like your earrings. And congrats on the house as well. I bet that's exciting. Okay. This is good, guys. So, of course, if any of you get any more ideas throughout the stream, feel free to type them in chat. It will get listed here. Anything that's said is going to get listed here. And hopefully we'll have quite a chunky list, and we'll obviously maybe have polls at some point to decide which one is going to be the best one. And we might not just have to pick one, we might pick a series of tragic events for Carol, because like we said, usually it's not just one time it's happened in someone's past to form this deep hatred. It's usually multiple events, because that is really kind of made it clear to Carol that yes, humans are the worst because it's happened 3 or 4 times, not just once. She's seen proof of it. Would Carol only care about humans doing things to barrels, or would she care if she witnessed humans being cruel to other humans? Interesting point you raise, Ava. That's for sure. I mean, I think at this stage of Carol's journey, she probably doesn't really care much about humans. She's just so she's very narrow-minded in a family and making sure the barrels are okay, and that's all she cares about. But I do definitely think on the course of the character arc, I mean, this is a series of 6 episodes probably. That's kind of the plan. And throughout those episodes, Carol is going to learn things about herself and realise that she probably cares about humans, and that's going to be a really weird feeling for her when she starts to care about humans. So I think that'd be interesting, to be fair. Something like that, witnessing humans being cruel to other humans would be something interesting for her to face in the present day, in the actual game, as something to like make her feel weird almost, of having feelings for someone other than the barrels. And it's an interesting thing. Can you scroll down to the fate section? I want to read them. Sure. So where were we? So we've got the backstory ideas for Karen in here. Here's the fates, and they're on a couple of pages actually. I should probably share this document with you guys, shouldn't I? What should we... Problem is it's on another document too, so I'm going to make a brand new document with this on. Actually, she doesn't strike me as one who... Oh no, she doesn't right now. So that's the thing. When the game starts, when episode 1 begins, she has no patience for humans. She's extremely cynical. She's got this massive misbelief that humans are really bad, and anyone that isn't of her kind are bad and not to be trusted. She definitely has that misbelief very, very deep within her. So I don't think, for that reason, I don't think she should have any sympathy for humans at this stage, because it's all about the character arc growth, and she's going to grow as a character, and it's going to be very, very difficult for Carol to accept, though, and come to terms with any kind of love for any human, because it's so deep in her, this hatred, and she'll be in denial at first, but she will have little feelings that will get slowly stronger. I mean, there's the relationship between the hero and Carol is probably one of the key romances that we're going to do in the story. Obviously, we're going to have multiple romance choices in the game with other characters, because not everyone will want to romance Carol, and some people want to have a go at other characters in other playthroughs. But the Carol and hero romance is definitely one of the key ones, and I guess she's got to end with Carol loving the hero. But it's going to be a crazy journey where it gets to that point. It's a relationship that started as a complete hatred, to a growing, blossoming friendship, and then eventually love. Like if she just constantly saw humans being cruel to each other, that would contribute to her disliking them, maybe thinking, wow, they don't even care about their own kind. That's true as well. I think anything at all that would give her a good reason for hating humans is a big plus, no matter what it is. Any like good feelings or positive feelings about other kinds that aren't of her own would come at a later stage, but it definitely will happen eventually, because that's part of the character arc, for her to eventually find out that actually I was wrong. I do have a place to belong with humans. Some of them can be great, like this party I'm with now. And Vagabond, thank you so much for that raid. I appreciate it. Welcome to the stream, everyone. Let's welcome in the raid. Thank you for all the hype, guys. I appreciate that. How you doing? Hi, Chris. Hi, Empress, and hi, Fefa and DZ. Let's give a shout out to Vagabond. How was your stream? What did you do, Vagabond? Hades. Oh yes, I added that game to my Steam wishlist actually, because I've heard good things. Are you having fun with it? Hope it went well. How are you guys doing? How was the stream? Tell us everything. And thanks for bringing your peoples over, everybody. We're having a Halloween stream today. I'm going to catch up with chat in a sec, because you guys have said loads of stuff, so I'm excited to catch up. But first of all, I'll let you know what we're doing. We're having a Halloween stream. I'm dressed up as a bat, and we're sharing tragic, disturbing, or creepy backstory ideas for one of our main characters in the game, Carol the Barrel. And we're making a list of tragic, horrible stories here. I want to be scared. I want to be disturbed. It's Halloween after all. So I'm going to be sharing this document with chat in a sec, so you can all have a look through the ideas. And feel free to throw some at me. Good. Just playing some hides before I talk to the devs who made it in a few weeks and talking a little about our next game jam. Awesome. Next game jam, how exciting. But yes, if you're here and you're not following Vagabond Dog yet, make sure you do, because he's pretty cool. He's made some cool games. And gotta support fellow creators. If you like me, I'm sure you'll like his stream too. Okay, so and Zava said, let's catch up with what Zava said, because then I was thinking she could be stuck in a dark alley or something and witness a murder or horrible things happen to a person. Okay, right. So maybe, yes, I think we could be up for that. Even things like this could happen in episode 1. We do have a war happening between reptiles and humans, so she could definitely observe some of this horrible stuff that's going to happen in episode 1 itself. Like, we've got that forbidden romance story, haven't we? And she could develop opinions from that and think, well, that wasn't right, or that's horrible, you're all horrible, and things like that. Whether humans would be horrible to fellow humans is a question mark. Don't forget, we want the humans in some way to be likeable. We don't want to make them the villains of the story to too much of a degree. But for sure, humans can be horrible to each other, so that could happen too. We'll get all these in. Barrels are used as animal trusts, and that can be disgusting depending on the animal. Oh no, we'll get that in as well. Maybe while they're travelling, someone threw a barrel at Father Maple in self-defence. Oh my goodness, Father Maple would probably ripped that barrel apart in revenge. And hate and love and lust are very closely related, yes. Like they say, the worst emotion is indifference. Hate's better than indifference, right? Because that means you feel nothing when it's indifference. And BRB, grabbing lunch, enjoy your lunch, Vagabond. I hope it's yummy. How you been, Kung? What kept you away? Oh, she's been up to loads of cool stuff, Kung has. She's got a house. She's got an awesome house now, haven't you, Kung? Feeling down for a while, but also an intense period. Oh, well, let's give you hugs, Kung. Everybody give some love to Kung in chat. I should have a hug emoji somewhere. There you go, Kung. Hugs from me. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to just get this document shared with your chat, and then I'm going to add the other thoughts that we have, that Zayva and Proto mentioned as well. So let's copy this. We'll put it in a new document because I kind of was already in the middle of using an old document, so it's probably better to put them in on a new one. Now that means we can delete them from here. Because this document specifically notes and an outline for Scene 3 of Main Quest 1. Carol backstory ideas. Okay, so share. Only people added can open this with a link. Anyone with link, yes. Share. copy link. So that should work, I think. I'll put it in chat and we'll see. If you're ever feeling down, I'm always around on Discord to chat. Yeah, we all are as well. So feel free to, you know, if you need to talk. We got the shelter and stuff. Okay, does that link work, folks? Let me know. Let me know if you can see that. I'm actually going to add it to a bot command as well so that we can... We'll call it backstory. Yes, it works. Thank you for letting me know, folks. Hi, Shadow. How are you doing? This is such a sweet, loving and supporting community. I will always try and help your day better in this stream, Kung, and that goes for everybody. Okay, so there we go, and I've got a command for it now, everybody. It's ! Backstory. I hope you'll all be able to use that. Yeah, everyone's got permission to use that. So that means you'll be able to have a proper read through of this now, because it's hard to see everything on the stream. That's ultimately why I embed my dialogue trees, because when we write dialogue together on stream, which we've been doing for a bit lately, it's harder for people to see just one small part of the screen. So dialogue trees are all on the Lore Bible as well. So we'll share any Google documents like this when we do stuff like this too. So you never know, like reading through these ideas could help you come up with your own tragic Carol backstory idea too. So we've got 3 categories at the moment. We've got backstory ideas that involve Carol herself, and these would have to be ones that where she came close to death maybe, or witnessed something really awful, but not enough to kill her, obviously, because Carol's alive and she's a full barrel. She's not like broken or anything like Hank will be later on. So really it's just anything that's kind of awful that would have made her feel hate humans. And these lists here are horrible barrel fates that would like kill barrels, and we figured that would clearly be Carol's parents, seeing as they're not in the game or in the flashback. They must have died, and you know, her parents dying in a horrible way would be the biggest probably event that caused her to form this horrible hatred of humans. And we've already got quite an interesting list so far of horrible ways that Carol's parents could have died. So I'm looking to make that list quite long, hopefully. So we've got a lot of choice, and eventually we'll put polls to decide how they could have died. Yes, I love this character development. Takes me back to the playwriting days. Yay! Oh, that's awesome that you do that. Playwriting, that's cool. Yeah, I'm a big nerd for that. I have a very, very strong interest in story writing, and as you can see, and story outlining and stuff as well. It's actually probably my biggest interest in game development, and my favourite part of it, actually doing all the story writing side of things. But bringing it to life visually is just super good too. Like, seeing it all on paper is fun, but when you actually see it, it's all brought to life, makes it even more exciting. Hi Rex, how you doing? How you doing, Carlos Handsome? I hope you're having a good Friday. Do you like my costume? Okay, and I'm going to give you guys again, Rex, anybody else who's just coming in, we've just shared a Google document of lots of really good ideas, as you can see in the corner stream. It's Halloween. Take in submissions for creepy, disturbing or tragic backstory ideas for Carol the Barrel. Tell us yours. Bonus points if it explains the reason she dislikes humans so much. I've got to scroll back in chat actually, because I know that some people, before we had the raid from Vagabond Dog, shared some interesting thoughts, so I'm going to get them down on here too in the relevant lists. And then we'll any new ones that you guys come up with now, I'll do at once. I'll put in once we put the old ones in. Okay. So we got the one where Met said squeeze the living fruit. We put that one in. Okay, so let's get this idea in. And I think this updates real time as well, doesn't it? So when you click on the link or refresh the Google Doc, you'll see it updated, won't you, chat? And then we had the barrels are used as animal disgusting, depending on the animal. Oh, and because, you know, they were a likely part living in the farmland from time to time, the barrels, we know the kind of travel between Everbloom and the nearby farm, you know. Could be possible, that one. And I don't think that's enough to kill a barrel, so we could definitely put it in the first list. Hee, we got an anonymous dragon and an anonymous camel in here. That was Proto Man. That can be discussed. Yeah, we know that when we did the pig tile set for the flashback, we added some pigs to the farm. So yeah, pigs and barrels. Interesting. Okay, now, and we had someone threw a barrel at Father Maple in self-defense. Interesting way to bring Father Maple into the narrative as well. So let's get that in as well. You know, a little call out to Father Maple before we actually meet him in game would be interesting. Although the area is going to be explorable, and people will, if they're explorers, they can kind of happen upon Father Maple before any story part triggers him. But what's this horrible tree? Oh no. There we go. Now, catching up with a chat. Carol saw a werewolf transform once and presumed this meant all humans must turn into wolves sometimes. But Carol is a smart cookie now. Yes, it's real time. You don't even need to refresh. That's awesome. Whether Carol's a smart cookie is something to consider as well. She's definitely got the sass, she's witty, she knows how to give it as good as she gets when it comes to attitude and being insulting someone. She herself, in the timeline that she's been a barrel, has probably gone on a bit of on a character transformation. How she was when she was born might not necessarily be the woman she is today. Well, barrel woman she is today. She could have been a lot more kinder, softer, and maybe even a little bit more naive in the early days, and it's the events that have happened here in this list, the ones that we choose, that formed her into this cynical person she is today. In the flashback itself, the one where she's on the wagon and separate from her family, her dialogue is generally quite a little bit softer than it is in the present day. I'm kind of thinking of making it even more soft, especially when talking to Oliver, just to kind of show that contrast of how she is with her barrel kin and how she is with humans. Yeah, I just presumed based on the sass. Now, oh yes, she's kind, that sassiness is part of her. She kind of is a bit sassy to Meryl and Woody in the flashback. So she's still, I'd say even in her early days, would have still been sassy. Yeah, that it's just got more and more extreme over time. She's got more cynical. And another barrel fate, though less likely a deadly one, would just be getting shipped off when someone distant bought something from the farmlands but never sent them back. Ooh, yes, get them all in, guys, even if I don't properly absorb every single idea, because I'm going to have a proper read of them later to take them all in properly. I'm going to be adding it to the list anyway, no matter what the idea is. So, and Zava's got one as well, so we'll read that one too. So we're going to get Met's 2 ideas in and we'll read Zava's as well. This one would be really sad. What if there was a young human female that was seeing a man her father disapproves of and then became pregnant and went into hiding for a few months? She had the baby and maybe set something up to where she'd leave the baby in the barrel and someone else was supposed to pick it up and take care of it while she went back home. However, the other person never came. Could be a weather or something, and the baby died inside the barrel. Oh my god, that's so tragically dark. Keep giving those dark stories, guys. It's Halloween, and Raindrop Chronicles isn't going to hold back on dark themes. This is a fantasy RPG for adults. So yes, that is dark. It is. I feel actually quite sad, but you know that I'm partial to the dark things. I'm not gonna lie. Right, so let's get this in before I cry. My goodness, Saver, that is a sad one indeed, for sure. Okay. So we'll get them in order. But you know, it's powerful, right? And I guess the goal would be for when we figure out what Carol's been through in her short life, that we just form so much empathy for her, that we just love her so much, and she becomes the MVP of our hearts. And we kind of, because there's going to be players that play this that think, God, that Carol's annoying, but we want to convert even them into Carol lovers, because then they'll be like, well, actually, I understand why she's like that because of what's happened to her. Okay, so now get that one in. It takes a bit of time to figure out what list everything fits in best. That's a Carol one. hope I'm putting the right names next to the suggestions. If I ever put the wrong ones, because I've got a brain melt, but I think I've done them all right so far. Okay, so this one here, was this a Carol one or a Carol parent one? Let's read. And I'm going to just put backstory in chat, guys, just so you got a link to the document just quickly. Would be just getting shipped off when somewhere distant brought back something from the farmland, so would never send them back. That would probably fit, would it? I mean, it's not like you say, deadly, but it's probably more fitting for the parents. Unless you disagree. If anyone disagrees, let me know and I'll put it in another category. So I've got a bit of brain. My brain melt is beginning. Okay, now Zava's idea as well. Let's catch up with chat 2. I'm working along and hear this scary story, so I had to stop and blink. Yeah, yes, it is powerful. So if a living barrel gets used to age whiskey, is the barrel just drunk the entire time? That would actually make sense. Yes, I actually think they would be, because we had this discussion a couple of streams ago that if there's certain items inside barrels, they would be affected from the item. Somebody suggested in chat, was it this week or last week, that if there was too many herbs in Carol, she would get a bit high. I think they also mentioned the idea of if there's alcohol in her, she would get drunk, and I was like, that's absolutely adorable and charming. So I really like that kind of idea, that the items being inside barrels would affect the barrel, because we've kind of clued people in on that in this scene here, where Carol's like, what gives you the right to jump into someone with your bloody axe that's sharp? So that's what the pain in my bunghole was, which is a great word because it sounds like bumhole. So you know, relatable to humans a bit there with the bunghole thing. So yes, love it. Let's get Zava's idea in now, because that is a powerful one. And that could be Carol as well, for sure. Anything that's barrel related, a barrel related backstory that doesn't cause their death, the barrel's death, would be perfect for Carol, basically, because there needs to be a real good reason why Carol's the cynical person she is. Otherwise, we risk her being annoying for the sake of it, which we don't want to do. Characters, there's always a reason for characters and the way they behave and why they formed the beliefs that they have, to make a better character, to make a character more better. So if they filled with fish, they'd become fishy. That'd be pretty smelly. Yeah, Carol got very annoyed because when we worked on just the scene 1 improvement, there's now variations of insults Carol will give the hero based on what your hero looks like. So if you're a hunter, she'll say something like, I can't, like, she'd be offended by the filthy snotty cloak. She'd be offended, like, she's really offended, her senses get offended by certain smells, and like, she doesn't like lice infested mane and that. So yes, she the smells, the scents of the being in barrels could offend her very deeply. And if so, we had that horrible baby story that happened in Carol's past. Like anything, if Carol's been subjected to anything like really awful, like she's had disgusting things inside her over her short life, this explains why she gets so offended, you know, because she just doesn't want it. She just wants to be out. She just wants the gross stuff away from her so she can have some peace. And if their cheese aging in the barrels, would they start telling really cheesy jokes? Maybe. And cheesy romantic one filled with coffee beans would be hyper. Yeah, feel free to share like different items and how they'd affect barrels in chat, folks. And although I'm not like currently making a list of that, I will go through the VOD after stream and save these ideas, because I always do. And you never know, they could like have a really good one of those could make a real fit at some time in the story, in Carol's arc, or even the other barrels, not necessarily Carol, because the others are containers as well. I wonder if Oliver still has cookies inside him. I could imagine people would probably be a bit greedy and ate them all. He probably did have cookies in him at first, but got eaten all up. Okay, I haven't missed any of the ideas, have I? I don't think I have. We're getting a big list. I'm super happy with this. I'm intrigued to hear more. But in the meantime, while we're waiting for more ideas, we're going to carry on with the dialogue that we've been doing. So if anyone wants to click on the story main quest 1, you'll get to the embedded dialogue tree and you'll get to see everything we've done. So we at the start of the week we gave a big update to the Carol their opening scene. It doesn't just end randomly now. Before, in the old version, Carol would shout at the hero and have a massive go at him, and then the scene would just end. The hero was free to walk and Carol just disappeared. But now we've kind of just created more impact by having a Lakefall villager run over, ask what all the noise is, because yes, Carol was making a bit of a noise, so someone would have heard that. Carol panics and hides, and you as a hero get to decide. You get complete control of whether you're going to tell the truth here. But of course, telling the truth isn't going to earn you Carol points. And it could lead to something even worse, where you can even agree to the Carol being smashed into pieces. But of course, Carol's not going to get killed off. What will happen is that the villager gets interrupted and doesn't get to finish smashing the barrel. But this will lead to Carol leaving Lakefall and following you, just like in the old version. Her goal is to join the party and become the hero's inventory, because she'll feel that way. The hero will want to protect her. We basically wrote in the scene card that in this scene, basically Carol approaches you and attempts to convince you to let her join. And the reason she wants to join is because she realises that someone with a weapon could help her, perhaps even protect her and make sure she doesn't get hurt or damaged by humans. We could even put harmed or damaged by humans, because she, like with the stories we've been coming up with, they're not necessarily ones that physically harmed her, but emotionally harmed her too. You know, she kind of would, you know, much rather have the hero's items in inventory inside her than poop and dead babies and vomit. and maybe other horrible stuff she's had to have in her. So to Carol, this is a much better life. So she doesn't actually get the idea to be your inventory straight away. It only triggers in her mind when she watches you struggle to fit items in your pocket. In this scene, the hero will pick up something on the ground and put it in the pocket, and she'll figure out then, I can be their inventory. And she realises that being with you is a risk because you're a human, but understands that every hero needs an inventory, even the worst of them. So she understands that if she's holding all your precious items, you won't want her harmed, because that would mean the items would be gone too. So Carol feels like she's really in control now of the situation, and things are going well. She can find her family, because she's got this fighter with her. She's got more chance of making progress in her quest to find her family now. She feels much better off after this scene than she did before. So that's what we're writing now. We're writing that scene. This middle scene here is the scene with Nigel Buckington in the inn, and I haven't currently filled in the scene card for that yet, but I will be at some point. Kind of was working on the Nigel Buckington dialogue just a touch. I added a little bit more tension in there, where Nigel's like, you're such a brave soul travelling into the forest, and kind of just making the threat of the forest a little bit more of a big deal. So I basically mentioned that many hunters and warriors stay in their beds, and he sees them shaking under the sheets at the thought of going in the forest. You truly have my deepest respect. And he's a nervous wreck, Nigel, is he? He stutters a lot in his dialogue. He's very polite, and he's very impacted by what's going on in this forest. So eventually we'll be developing him and Fiona's backstories a little bit further as well. Until then, we will be doing this, and we'll just go over the start of what's happened in this scene as well. Hi, Forgotten, how you doing? And thank you, Common J, for that follow. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're having a good day. For anyone just walking in, we've got a Halloween stream today, and I thought it'd be really cool if we got into the creepy mood and the tragic and disturbing mood, and thought of some really horrible backstory ideas for Carol the Barrel and what's made her the cynical person she is today. So we do have for Forgotten and anyone else who's just coming in the stream now, we have a Google document there. Feel free to have a look at all the ideas for backstories that we've got so far, and feel free to give your idea, because at some point I'll be putting up a poll, and we'll be narrowing down the top ideas here, and we won't just have one. We'll probably have at least a few. We'll take the top few winners of the poll and have them as the backstory ideas, because it's not just one event that makes a person have hate and become cynical. It's usually a series of events that's turned them into that kind of person and developed that attitude for them. And we are on scene 3. So ever since obviously the last time, there's 3 different outcomes that happened at the end of scene 1, and Carol's reaction to you is going to be based on the option you picked. So obviously if you told the villager to smash her, she's going to be so mad, she's going to literally call you vile and despicable, because she's so furious at this point. If he says, oh, I was probably dreaming, she'll be a bit annoyed, because she'll think, well, I'm real, what do you mean? And she'll call herself a lovely barrel, because Carol does think quite highly of herself. If you told the villager nothing, she'll be like, I don't like you, but at least you didn't rat me out. And then you get to do something. You get action. You can either attack Carol, you can either run away in fear, or you can actually offer to shake hands. Very different actions there. She doesn't really take kindly to any of them, this is probably the nicest option, but she's still offended because she's like, what do you mean I don't even have hands? How dare you? But at the end of the day, this is very early Hero and Carol relationship. There's not going to be really any super nice interactions happening at this point. It's just, if you want a good relationship with Carol, it's just about picking the one that does the least damage at this point in time. I feel like this could be more severe. I feel like her reaction to the weapon being drawn on her could be more severe than how it currently is written. But I don't want Carol to show fear, because Carol, even though she is fearful, really, she's too proud to show that fear. She'll like... This also happens in Main Quest 2. There's an option where the hero can draw his weapon on Carol then as well. And Carol says, I'm not scared of any of you flesh bags. So she says that, she pretends she's not scared, but she probably kind of is, really. But she's putting on this false hard front. She might even feel like showing weakness and fear will surely make her die. So she feels like, if I at least act like I don't care, then I'm more likely to be safe. Maybe she has that weird belief as well. So at the moment, she's kind of very calm about this, which I'm not against. But I feel like she should be a little bit mad, maybe. A little bit more mad. So we don't necessarily have to show the fear, because Carol doesn't show fear. But we could definitely get a mad, like this sort of level of mad, you know, where she's like frigging... let's catch up with chat. Kung says, another rather cruel story. Carol sees a group of teenagers playing with a barrel. They're standing on top of it, and then the barrel moves, so they try to keep on top of it until the barrel falls apart in pieces, and the teenagers just laugh about it. Oh my goodness, and then you would hate humans. That would be horrible. And if that was one of Carol's parents as well, oh my goodness. Maybe Carol's parents could have died in separate incidents, but both incidents involved human cruelty. And that just really makes it worse, doesn't it? It really confirms to Carol that humans are dreadful. Let's get that in. That's another really sad one, and I like the sad ones, I have to say. So this will go in the Carol parent category. Actually, why is this one should be in the Carol category, not in the parent category. Let's put that up where it should be. But Kung's will go in the parent category. Okay, that's a good one, Kung. Thank you. And along these lines, what if a bunch of kids are using the barrels as target practice, throwing rotten fruit and bad eggs? Oh no, yeah, maybe that could kind of be part of the same event. But yeah, kids living in Lakefall, maybe, or the farm. Because some of this backstory stuff we might not necessarily find out about it in episode 1, folks. Carol might not reveal how her parents died until episode 2, maybe, and that might be when we actually do those flashback scenes. I think that we're slowly going to learn about Carol throughout the adventures, so it could be when we get to the farm in episode 2 when we find out that. Because the reason I'm thinking it could suit the farm if we have the kids' story is because there's a school in the farm. Silent and Lost character, in their character submission, Lavender, their character's name is, it actually says in the bio that they live in a farm, their parents own a farm, and they go to school. So it's kind of cemented a school and a farm, young people. So, I mean, Lakefall has Fiona Buckington as a young person, but I think Nigel did say in the dialogue that she's like the youngest in the village, or the second youngest maybe. But yes, I guess it depends how early we want to inform the audience of Carol's tragic past. It's something to consider, whether it should be episode 1 or episode 2. Okay, now let's get it in. But it'll be fun, you know, just knowing these and sitting on them and kind of imagining how the scenes will go will be fun to ponder in the meantime. And I'm going to add Zavers below it as well. But yes, we are shaping the humans in an absolutely dreadful light, which is the point right now, because they haven't done good things to Carol. But it is a misbelief that she thinks humans are bad, because it isn't true. There's going to be wonderful human characters in this game, and she's going to sort of not necessarily the hero though, because if you go down the evil asshole hero route, then she'll probably like hate you. But there'll be other humans that are good, and we're going to make sure Lakefall at least has a couple or a few good ones, because we don't want to tempt you guys to side with the reptiles too easily. We want some very lovable humans in the bunch, in the characters. And a lot of the human actions that we've got, a lot of it are human ignorance. Like, they just don't realise the barrels are alive, or if they do realise the barrels are alive, they just don't take them seriously. It's just like a big joke. They don't see the barrels as real people, and it's like it's coming from like a real strong ignorance and stupidity. They've got a lot of learning to do. One day barrels will be loved and accepted in the world. Basketball, barrel ball. Yeah, a barrel ball sport. Yeah, let's get that in too. Barrels are used as a sport. Interesting. Because we haven't talked about that, like, leisure in the world. What the people do in the area of Lakefall and the farmland nearby. What they do for leisure and stuff. A sport involving barrels. Yeah. Maybe Carol was tossed in the river once and had to make her way back from far downstream. Yes, let's get that one in too. So that'll be in the Carol section. I might accidentally end up getting mixed up and putting the Carol ones in this list instead, so I'll have to make sure after stream that everything's in the right spot. And I'm going to put this just here, just so you know, folks, how to get to this link. Hi, Common J, how you doing? I'll catch up with your chat in a mo. Let's read what Zava said first. Maybe Carol witnessed a lot of times that humans only seem to use the perfect barrels, ones without blemishes and dents or scratches, and maybe the humans trash and throw those out, leaving the perfect barrels, wondering if they're going to be trash and constantly paranoid that they won't be seen as perfect anymore. Interesting. It's an interesting concept because when we think of the different settings we've got in the game, Lake, Fall and the Farm are kind of very like areas that are a little bit humble, and there's more commoners living around those areas and tribal, with a tribal way of life in Everbloom specifically. The farmland are probably very ordinary and down to earth, but other areas in the game could definitely use very, very perfect barrels. I'm trying to think of the kind of setting that would use perfect barrels, if not Everbloom, but it would maybe be the capital. I don't know. There's a question of Axel, Meryl's boyfriend. He's an oil drum. I wonder where Meryl met him. So she obviously might have travelled out a bit, because there's no oil drums in Everbloom Forest. I don't even know if there would be in the farmland. And very nice ones. They're definitely it's a fascinating concept. Thank you, Ziva, for the idea. And there's a Dutch children's song about a guy in a barrel. It has a dance and all of that. I don't think it exists in English, but it's the first thing I thought about. Oh, really? I'm going to have to Google that one. Maybe I can translate it and see what it's about. Curious. Thanks for sharing that, Jay. I like the barrels being used for play ones because it's the humans are just trying to be innocent and have fun, but the barrels see it as something horrible. I do as well. There's some there's something just really like dark and powerful, and maybe it's the juxtaposition, like you say, children playing, they think it's all nice, but really it's awful what's going on. And yeah, the children laughing in that idea, or like barrels used for a sport, if we want to like develop it further. They might not even know that what they're doing is bad, because they might not even be aware that the barrels are even alive. Like we know, the barrels often hide their faces because they don't want humans to know that they're around. They'll only show their faces under like severe circumstances, or in Carol's situation at the start of the game, she shows her face because she's so disgusted the hero's in her and she just wants to get him out, so she just loses patience and reveals herself to him. And so if she doesn't paint humans in a bad light unless seen from a barrel's point of view, yes, and I think that's very good. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's definitely going to be some horrible humans out there that would want to do nasty things to humans, but definitely not all of them. We don't want to go overboard in that every human's done bad, so I do definitely like balancing it out with something like that, where the humans didn't have a clue and would actually be horrified if they knew what they'd done, even. So, because I'm sure there's some out there that would really embrace being friends with a barrel, I would, if I lived in this world, I'd want to be friends with a barrel. What about you guys? A few of you said in the other streams that you would be scared and run away from a living barrel if you saw one. So I'm going to raise that question again. If you saw Carol in real life, what would you do? Would you be scared? Would you run away? Would you attack her? Would you want to be friends with her? What would you do? And I'm gonna get Zava's idea about the perfect barrels and the plaything one in as well in a second. Forgotten's just come up with an idea as well. Here goes. Every time Carol is sleeping, she is having the same dream. She has been transported in a wagon along other barrels by some humans, And when they arrive at a lake, there she sees her fellow barrels getting stuffed with corpses and stones and gets tossed into their river. She dreads the idea of succumbing to the same fate, and as her turn comes up and another wagon comes out of nowhere smashing into her, she rolls over towards the forest nearby because of the impact. While hearing the screams of the humans that was stuffing the barrels with corpses, she managed to escape, and since that day she detests humans. Interesting about the corpses, because we've had some real horrible suggestions for things going inside the barrels, but corpses hasn't been one we thought of yet, so we'll add that to the list. But wow, we are getting some fleshed out story ideas here. I can see there being a series of flashbacks that end up happening with Carol, because, you know, we want to include Carol's family in more flashbacks too. We've only seen them in one flashback so far, and we love those characters, don't we? And it might not be until much later in the game when we meet them in the present day. So it's an excuse for us to use them in flashbacks until then, now and again, when the moment is right. To have another flashback with the barrels and Woody and Oliver. So any of these ideas you guys come up with that also involves the other barrels too, the other containers, and would give them a place in a flashback scene, would be cool as well, because then it's just an excuse to do another flashback with them. And I want to see loads of Woody, I want to see loads of Oliver, loads of Hank and Elvira and Meryl. We want to get to really know them. And at some point, Meryl and Axel as well. And it's a big question mark how they met. Axel probably hangs out in a really rough part of town, so where there is an oil drum. You know, he's not going to be in a very picturesque area, is he? As an oil drum. But she met him one day and they fell in love. It's all very interesting. Okay, so maybe while Audron was in Lightfell, he was used as a burning barrel. Not sure if that would be horrible itself, but it could play into something interesting. I mean, yes, he might have travelled, Axel. He could have been from somewhere else originally. I mean, we know that the radius of the spell is very large. So, yes, it did. The epicenter is Lightfall, and that is where it affected and brought to life the majority of things in the world, but it could have trickled elsewhere. We know that scarecrows in the farm have come to life as well, because we had an idea of a scarecrow love story, where they can't, they're stuck watching each other from the opposite side of the road. It's very romantic. When we get to the farm part of the story. Not sure it'd be horror itself, but it could play into something. Yeah, who knows? We'll get it all added, because ideas could come from it. The cardboard box could have been used to abandon a litter of kittens and puppets. Oh my gosh! Oh my goodness! Tragic Woody stories, please. Yes, I want some tragic Woody stories. And as for Oliver, the little cookie jar, he had an owner. Let's just cement this in place just so folks know. Some of you already might, but some of you might not. Oliver, the little cookie jar, Carol's son, he was originally owned by a young NBC boy in Lakefall. He was the cookie jar of a boy originally with the name Oliver, because on his little ribbon, it's got name Oliver on there. And that's why he's called Oliver as well. And I actually don't have the updated avatar on the lore bubble, so I need to update it. But in the update, I did put Oliver on the cookie jar name tag. So at some point in episode 1, the hero's gonna run into this Oliver boy, and there's gonna be something there. Maybe you can give Oliver back to him at some point, but that would mean he wouldn't be with the barrels anymore. and he'd be alive as well, so that would add some complexity. The cardboard box could, yeah, and also great idea. It's like Toy Story. Yes, you know what? There's a lot of similarities, isn't there, with Raindrop Chronicles and Toy Story, with the fact that things have come to life, just like the toys in Toy Story. I think it's a good inspiration. But yeah, this Raindrop Chronicles is a dark Toy Story. That's our pitch, everybody. Have you ever been curious about a dark version of Toy Story? Well, here's Raindrop Chronicles. Okay, and all the cardboard box could have been used for the love letters and the heartbreak letters, memories of people that died. Yes, that's another interesting one. And you know, the good thing about all this is, why not do a lot more than one? We could have the kitten story and the love letter story for Woody if we wanted, if it flowed, because these barrels and boxes have been reused for multiple purposes. You know, in their life, they've lived for 6 months. Woody, Meryl, and Carol and Hank and Alvira have lived for 12 months. So in those months, many things could happen. Many things that have. Woody, I guess we got to think of Woody as a character, because Woody's a joker. He's also really, like, deluded. He thinks he's some real stud, but he's probably not very much so at all. A lot of his joker ways could be a cover again for a pretty tragic past, who knows. Woody probably will be a romance option in the game as well, like the male version of a sentient object romance, because we've got Carol as a sentient object romance, as a female sentient object, but we'll have Woody as a male one. But it doesn't really matter, because Carol's pansexual, so you can romance whatever gender you are, and Woody might be too, so that's something to consider as well. We've always known Carol would be romanceable no matter what gender you are, but Woody, it's still a question mark. But I know that Chub Cheeks wants to romance Woody, so yes, we will have Woody romance men too. I won't see why not. At the end of the day, the objects, characters, they're gonna just kind of love people that love them. You know, they see love as they fall for the person, not the gender, because they're just the sort of object themselves. It's beautiful. And I mean, Toy Story 3 was pretty. Did I even watch Toy Story 3? I can't even remember now, but I definitely saw. I don't think I watched Toy Story 3. I'm gonna have to watch it now. I'm curious now what dark stuff happened in it. I know I watched one of the Toy Stories years ago, but I can't remember what number it was. Oliver learns to summon a phantasmal red hand to catch people that steals cookies from him red-handed. That would be end game Oliver, wouldn't it? Like, Oliver finally gets his revenge. He's got special powers now. In game Oliver. Right, let's get these ideas in, because there's some really cool ones. So where was the last one? Thank you, Jetmaster, for the follow. I appreciate it. Downstream was the last one. Yep. So then we had the perfect barrel idea, so we'll get that one in. And that would be a Carol backstory. Yeah, and I like your point there about the barrels being used for play ones. I'm very, very fond of that that idea as well. Using them, kids using them for playing. And let's get Forgottens in. No, not the black background. I'm going to give you guys the backstory link just in case anyone's just popping in. Wants to have a read of what we've currently got, because it could, inspire some ideas. Right, so I think the idea with the oil drum character would be classed as general, because it doesn't involve Carol's parents nor Carol. So if anyone has any thoughts about which is what we've kind of been discussing now, we've had some Woody ideas as well, so we'll get these in the general. Put Axel in brackets. Gonna let the rest of the stream almost at the destination. We're having dinner. Let's have super spooky weekend plans for the fun day. Yeah, thanks. It's been a super fun Halloween stream. Thanks for being part of it, Kong. Thanks so much. I hope you have a good rest of the weekend too. I think the idea would go well with Woody since he's so afraid of rejection. Yeah, that actually, thanks for putting that out, Xavier, because it really does, doesn't it? Woody, we haven't done a character card of Woody yet. We will eventually, and because one thing we have done with Carol is write her desire, fear and misbelief and stuff, and we got a massive questionnaire thing to consider about characters here, and we can do the same, uncover Woody's and all the other characters as well, because what we've got on their bios at the moment is just basic stuff. This part just goes into depth even more and uncovers the real character what makes them truly compelling and conflicted. And Woody's will have the same, and I'm pretty sure you're right with Woody, you've hit on something there, so that could definitely suit. The kitten and puppy idea is very heartbreaking in a way that's pretty good too, I have to say. Okay. Gonna look, see you all later. Yeah, take care, Zeva. Thanks for hanging out and for your cool ideas. Carol gets used as a parody by a politician and just finds it frustratingly boring. Would the barrels be jealous of the reverence humans have for the legendary tree? Interesting there, because they do sort of worship that tree, don't they? And he's made out of wood. I guess that it opens the question of how do the barrels, or Carol specifically, feel about the other creatures that have come to life in the forest. Now that you've mentioned the tree, I'm thinking how are their feelings about other things coming to life, like the fruits? You had an idea about a fruit being inside of Carol, but we also know that Carol absolutely can't stand Tomato, but that's because Tomato comes up to Carol and insults her in Main Quest 2 scene 4, just before the fruit confrontation. Carol and Tomato have an argument, and that's because Tomato's just an asshole, emo. So Carol, there's no like biases with fellow living kin or beings. Carol can just as easily hate them as she hates humans if they are an asshole to her. Lemon threatens to turn her into an easel, so he don't like her much either. So, yes. It's more like they sort of form the community with who they're comfortable with, like Carol and the barrels and the fruits with each other, but not together because they still see each other as something different to them. Thank you, Titan Core, for that follow. Welcome to the stream. How are you doing? I don't know why I'm on that bit, because we haven't been focusing on that as quite as much. Right, let's get these other ideas in. So we had the... Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move that one down here, the general ideas, and I'm going to title this as and although Axel's not one of the companions, he is a link because he's Meryl's boyfriend, so it's totally fine. Totally awesome to talk about Axel. We need to develop him after all. So wow, this, I'm pretty, you know, happy with all the thoughts I had today. I actually will be honest, I didn't expect to have so many suggestions. Like, it's gone pretty wild compared to what I thought it was going to be. I thought we'd literally just have Carol backstory, but we've like branched out to the other containers, stories for them and Carol's parents, and like, that's really cool. Super cool, guys. Like, it took over the stream today, this entire thing. I thought it was just going to be a side thing we were going to do, and I thought we were going to carry on with the dialogue for Man Quest 3, but that kind of has come to a halt because we've been so into this. But that's cool. It's been perfect Halloween stream talking about creepy stories. And hi Titan, hi, I'm also making an RPG, so it's nice to learn from others more experienced, mostly in keeping things organised. LOL, looks at notes, and yeah, it's definitely a challenge to keep organised, that's for sure. As you can see, I've got story outline stuff going on here, that's for sure. If you're curious what the program is I use for organising and flow charts and for the dialogue trees and that, feel free, that's the one I use, feel free to have a look. It is free, but that's awesome that you're making your own too. It's always good to meet fellow RPG fans and creatives and devs. You're definitely at home here, because we love RPGs here, that's for sure. We're making a story driven RPG in this stream, and yeah, we all come up with really cool ideas together. It's super fun. Oh, that looks awesome. Yay. We're sharing creepy backstory ideas today for our barrel characters. We have, if anyone's curious about the backstory with the barrels, because it's a pretty wild concept, we have a lore bible there, so feel free to have a a read. We got some articles up. The Law Bible's pretty basic right now, but it will get super detailed as time goes on, because this is a very long ongoing project. Doing this for like over a decade probably. And hi Say, how you doing? Welcome back to the stream. Love your costume, thank you. I'm a bat. Gotta be a bat on a Halloween stream. Because I'm not streaming tomorrow, so this was the only chance I could dress up. How are you doing though, Say? And are you guys, any of you here doing anything cool for Halloween? Dressing up? It's hard to do anything well with the COVID stuff, but you can dress up as something cool, I guess. That's one thing, even if it's alone in your room. And where were we? So this was the last bit we were, Van's idea, which was and if anyone wants to see, because I've got a link to this doc, if anyone wants to have an actual look at what we're coming up with here, feel free to have a peek. Feel free to submit your own. I'm like mega shocked that we've got all these cool ideas. Didn't expect it. Oliver learns to summon. Okay, we'll get that one in as well. We've got a few more. So I haven't been much help today since I'm working. No, boys, Van, your one idea that you made was really good. We like it. Could a call to prep stolen a batch of barrels, including Carol, and use them to store their horrific sacrifices, but the storage room was also the dungeon for a cult. Carol got to spend days with a kind gnome who tried their best to keep the kobold children calm before they were slaughtered and placed inside Carol for a full moon. Interesting thought. We'll get that one down too. And yeah, keep them coming, guys. I'm going to be... a lot of these ideas might sit here for a while because I'm not sure when we're going to finally develop Carol's backstory or what stream will do that. But when the time comes when we want to set something in stone, we'll have I'll have a good look through and we'll figure out which ones work the best. But every idea counts, because you never know. Could be perfect. Probably going to watch Sweeney Todd and eat Rice Krispie treats, but instead of Rice Krispies I'll be using Frankenberry. Oh yes, yummy Halloween snacks. And my roommates are setting up a little system to deliver candy to children from a zipline thing, so that those that are going out can get some candy. They're including some hand sanitizer and stuff, and we are going to stay inside and maybe have a drink or two while they do that. Oh, that's really nice. Because, you know, it's kind of sad, isn't it, that people aren't, like, kids aren't going to get their Halloween this year that they'd usually have. Because I know that in the US it's a big deal. So, trick-or-treating and stuff. That's super sweet. And the cult was all humans trying to summon a being that would purge the impure, and she saw humanity its absolute worst, and like after that it's hard to trust any human again. Okay. I haven't even got any candy. Kids never come to my condo, so with the virus that's a certain thing, no one will show up. Yeah, I don't, no one's probably going to show up here either. They don't when everything's normal. Because like I said a couple of streams ago, remember that story of when I dressed up as a witch and I knocked on someone's door and they screamed? Yeah, like because of things like that, that's why we don't get many trick-or-treaters in my area. People are too scared. People are too scared here. We got some like older people living where I live, but to be in all honesty, the one that screamed was a young person. They weren't old, so how dare they? Well, in this area there's existing conflict between humans and reptiles, so maybe they were trying to please a spirit that would ward away the reptiles. Yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, of course, like some ideas that peeps have might need to be adjusted to fit the setting of what, but you know, I don't know, something could work there, so for sure. And yeah, my country doesn't celebrate Halloween. It's a bummer. Oh, where are you, Crusader? I mean, UK, I definitely don't think it's as big a deal here as it is in the States. But people somewhat celebrate it. It's definitely not something that's ignored. We definitely oh, have I smudged my... Nah, I'm still good. I'm from Greece. Oh, right. And yeah, and honestly, the streets don't get packed during Halloween, so if families do go out, it's not going to be much different than taking a walk. And I set out candy last year for the first time in years that we could afford to, but I don't think any kids came to take it. My mum did break a tooth on some of the candy though. Oh no. I would cry if that happened to me. God, it's because I'm vain. My goodness me, what did she do? Did she get a tooth fixed? I rarely get trick-or-treaters anyway, but got 6 Ziploc bags, and for the few that might, just a couple of pieces of candies, rat pastries and Burt's Bees stuff. I work there, so I get free stuff and a few small toys. Oh, I want candy now. I don't have any. I want candy. People decorate all sorts of food for Halloween. My neighbourhood has lights and ghosts and bats hanging around on people's balconies. I'm hanging around on people's balconies. Because I'm a bat. In each bag. That's so cool. You made me want candy now. Maybe there's Halloween like ritual in Lakefall and a barrel got used as a costume or to hold candy and they found it humiliating. Oh my goodness. Yes, we haven't talked much about special events and seasonal festivals, have we, in our world? We haven't, like, I remember we very briefly talked about it for about 10 minutes a couple of months back. We sort of vaguely, just briefly talked about it, but we never expanded on it because it wasn't really relevant, and we tend to not talk about what isn't currently relevant. But when something like this is brought up, like, yeah, feel free to share ideas on what the Halloween version of the Raindrop Chronicles world would be. Even good names for the season, because I think unique names are cool. Like, we wouldn't even necessarily call it Halloween in our world. I know some stories call Halloween differently, like the Dark Tower series calls Halloween Reap. I think it was Reap, R-E-A-P. Haven't read that series in a bit, so I might have got it wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was Reap. You know, that's an interesting name. Dark, disturbing Halloween names. But yes, I imagine that there will be like versions of Halloween and Christmas in our world. I think that'd be pretty fun to think about. The gift giving season and the spooky season. They could do things very differently, or maybe there's a few differences, but they basically still exists. And be lurking, I just wanted to come up for air. Oh, thank you for lurking and popping by, Moon Shadow. I hope you're having a good day yourself. Darn, now I want something sweet. I'd probably get a small bag of candy just in case a kid miraculously shows up. LOL. Oh my god, what if someone does knock on my door tomorrow? We don't have anything here. I'm gonna like tell my fam to buy some candy and I'll eat it. We'll just leave some to bear in case someone knocks on the door. It would suck to be used to sell fish or clams in a market. The smell soaking into the wood would probably feel degrading. Oh, for sure. Like, now you mention selling fish and clams, we do have a beach zone in Raindrop Chronicles. Lakefall itself isn't really a sort of coastal area, I guess. I guess it is kind of near it's got its own coast, but there's no like tourist spot or market there. But it's interesting to think about for when we do go to the beach zone, because I'm sure we could have some plot points going on there. Imagine if Carol gets taken temporarily and that happens or something, you know. It would be degrading for sure. And there is a holiday where people do barrel rides down the waterfall of Lakefall. People talk of a hero who escaped ghoulies by jumping in a barrel and riding it over the edge. Interesting lore, because we do the waterfall is a very significant landmark of Lakefall. So I like the idea of thinking of those kind of landmarks. We have that waterfall, we have a bridge, we have the tree, the saint tree, Lakefall special good tree, wise tree. We got him. We got flowers all over the place. I wonder how all those flowers got there. We've got caves. What other landmarks do we have? We have lakes, very deep lakes. 2 deep lakes actually. One in Lakefall itself and one further south. There's things like that, thinking, and I like the idea of like inserting some lore and some kind of narrative with those landmarks. So it's a really cool one, Vandalia. And then we can have a scene where the hero has to escape a monster and has to convince Carol to let them ride. Ooh. I've got really behind with these ideas, guys, because you guys have been saying some, and I think the last one I stopped at was the cardboard box with the love letters. So I'm going to still keep adding them and go back through chat if I get a bit of, once I've caught up with you guys. But anything I don't get around to adding, I'll do off stream. And you've got the link to this document, folks, so you'll be able to follow when I'm off stream and see me update it later if you want. Harvest festivals are given in an almost any most of them develop scarecrows and other spooky-like images. Perhaps a straw man festival where the villagers invite their scarecrows into their homes but have to go out themselves in spooky costumes to scare away the spirits of the scarecrows protect against as well. Yeah, interesting, because scarecrows we have not in Everbloom. We don't have scarecrows in Everbloom, but they're in the farm. And we even have the assets there of the scarecrows already, because we built the farm scene for Carol's flashback. And we did have some really cool stories regarding the scarecrows. Like we said, that they'd probably come alive. Some of them might have come alive, maybe not every single scarecrow, but a couple of them might have come to life and are opposite each other and fell in love, but they can't reach each other. So it's a really tragic love story where maybe the hero has a quest where he has to take one of the scarecrows over to the other scarecrow so they can finally be together again. And how cute would that be? That was one really cool farmland side quest idea that someone thought of a while back when we did those assets. But yeah, so that's a really cool thing. I like the scarecrow idea, even if we can't bring it in episode 1. It's interesting thoughts and ideas for when we do get to the scarecrows and farm part of the game as well, because we have the world of Raindrop Chronicles is full of many different settings and different locations and places. We may be in a forest now with waterfalling cliffs. Oh yeah, we got cliffs. That's a landmark. Do people jump off the cliffs? That's pretty dark. Yeah, what would happen if is there a history of someone jumping off a cliff because they got so paranoid about the things coming to life? And during the holiday, people bob for apples in barrels and all sorts of things, yes. Which, would that be tragic? I mean, it's a definitely very interesting holiday lore thing, but for sure, it's kind of cute actually. Not creepy, disturbing, or sad. I think it's kind of cute, but that isn't cute. That idea there. But yeah, I like these ideas, guys. I'm glad that we're thinking of the festivals, because I'm definitely keen on thinking of some versions of like the festivals and seasonal festivals in our world. And we don't really know actually what season we're currently in, because Everbloom Forest is like this consistent summer spring sort of feel. And I'm not going to be doing winter versions of assets or anything like that, because it's just too complicated. Plus, there's going to be specific zones that are snow areas, and specific zones that are desert areas, and specific ones that are more autumny and more to make them more distinct. But yeah, seasons can still exist. It don't matter. It can be summer in Christmas. It is in Australia, and it can, be summer and Halloween as well in the late fall area of the world. As usual, I'm on mud duty, but that doesn't stop me from at least liking here. By the way, Rose, you should pop by later. She's so cute today. You know who I mean. I'm avoiding promoting. Oh, really? Is she dressed up is she doing Halloween cosplay as well, man? I do know indeed. But don't worry about promo. I'm not bothered. The only time I'm bothered by promo is if someone just outright comes in the stream for the first time ever. And he's like, come to my stream right now, don't be in this stream, I'm live. That would be a problem. But talking about fellow content creators and friends, no issue from me. Is there a cave behind the waterfall? I don't remember if it was a Mario Kart or Diddy Kong racing level that had a shortcut behind one, but I've looked for secrets behind waterfalls in games ever since. Ooh, interesting. Now, as for the cave of Everbloom Forest, I feel like I should get the tiled map for us out now, so we can actually see it. So we can actually see how it all looks visually. Here we go. So there's tons of cliffs. Absolutely loads of cliffs, very, very steep ones as well. People could easily jump off and die. So if we could think of a tragic story that way, jumping off the edge would definitely lead to death, especially if you jumped off this edge. And there's a cave here. I imagine it's a system of tunnels that obviously are shaped like the cliffs, and you can go through those tunnels and it will eventually lead to you can see that there's a sort of, here we've got a cliff, and obviously if you go far enough through the tunnels you'll be able to get there. It would just require a lot of travelling and a lot of digging to get there. And you can see it here at the waterfall as well. If we look behind, there is definitely a cliff behind that waterfall. And when it comes to doing the cave maps in the future, when we want to do the content for Main Quest 4 onwards, because that's when we'll be going to the caves, I'll be very, very strict about making sure that the level design matches the cliffs in Everbloom Forest. So whatever the tunnels look like inside, it has to realistically match how the cliffs are shaped here. So that'll be a lot of fun to do for sure. So And I like the idea of secrets behind waterfalls too. You know, it would be pretty fun if there was some like really some lore about what's either behind the cliffs or even under the lakes. Like what's at the bottom of the lake? How deep is the lake and what's at the bottom? All these mysterious little things and histories are fascinating to build. Same here, we got a very deep lake here, and when we expand our maps, because we obviously will, we've got some like edges that haven't been complete yet, so we will be like looking at expanding the lake beyond here at some point. Who knows, it could be a really big lake that has some real secrets here, so be fun. If anyone's got any ideas, thoughts, don't hold back from sharing. She's a wood elf. Oh, that's cool. I'm glad I dressed up as a bat today. And if you've seen glitch text, there's a sword that seems useless because it's bent, turned out to be a key for turning the castle upside down. What if the secret behind the rainfall is a similar item? It seems useless but unlocks an extra level for getting something cool. Interesting. I am very fond of, like, one thing I want Raindrop Chronicles to have is like secrets, like where you can get rewarded from exploring. Not necessarily rewarded mechanics where you get an extra level or anything like that, but rewarded narratively and getting like a kind of insight and secrets of the world, and maybe just lore secrets that could be really eye-opening. Potentially from exploring you'll find out stuff that maybe players that don't explore won't find out, because I'm going to be putting like little secrets in the game. I will be, for sure. And I'd love people to like think and wonder about things that are hidden and optional the ways to explore. So yeah, expect there to be a lot of things to read and look at in this game. You can definitely I definitely interact with objects to read stuff and investigate. All that kind of stuff is super fun to me. Alright, so I'm going to cross that off now because I've shown you what the mapping looks like. And where were we? We was putting in some ideas, but I got super behind, didn't I? If I can spend the rest of the stream adding the rest to it, I'd say. A broken old rope ladder on a cliff with items at the bottom of the cliff that implies that someone fell to their doom. Would be a cool way to work creepy lore into level design. Yes, give us all your creepy lore stories. So we've expanded now, guys. Not only are we just talking about creepy stories for Carol and her fellow barrel companions, but we're talking about creepy, disturbing stories generally as well, based on landmarks and the area. So I'm gonna make sure any of those get added here. So I'm gonna go up. Where was the last bit we left off? I think it was this idea was where we were last on. So I'm gonna scroll up in fact, I'm gonna look at my bot, because I've got all the chat on my bot as well. So scroll up here. Oh, we're well behind. Is Raindrop Chronicles darker than Toy Story 3 though? I'm curious now, because it's still a story for kids, isn't it? Toy Story, even at its darkest. I can safely say that Raindrop Chronicles is not a story for children. It's probably going to be rated M for mature. Well, probably it will be. No doubt. A sheet covering a body comes to life and wanders around acting like a sheep ghost. Oh. And when you said sheet covering a body, my first thought went to the inn because there's bed covers in the inn. But you're probably thinking of an actual dead person that has a sheet over them, right? One that hasn't yet been buried. Chaotic and Writer, thank you so much for that follow. Welcome to the stream. Because I like that we're talking about creepy story ideas and creepy quests today, because we haven't really done that, have we? We had the story when we were having the story suggested-a-thon streams a couple of weeks ago. We were coming up with more tragic quest ideas, like the Stumpy one, and we came up with some funny quest ideas, even some just general interesting story ideas, but we haven't really considered the creepy stories yet, and I like that because I want to evoke all the moods. I want people playing this game to feel all kinds of moods and feelings. So yes, we got it. I'd love to throw the odd creepy side quest in, or two. So yeah, feel free to think about that one, especially if it connects with the Lakefall settings. Bonus points, because it's more likely going to be in episode 1 if it's got the Lakefall kind of setting and key landmarks involved. If it's like more with a different kind of setting, it'll probably have to be a side quest for consideration for the future when we get to the appropriate zone. Okay, so we had another idea here. The last time I was putting an idea, yeah, gosh, we're really behind, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Okay, so there we are. It's in the right category. Yep. So yeah, we've had some thoughts on Woody, and we've had some thoughts on Oliver. We mentioned Axel. We haven't considered Elvira or Hank much yet, though. But there's definitely potential with those two because they're brilliant characters. I like that Carol gets used as a podium by a politician at some point in the future, because we haven't met any of the government yet. The government are in the capital. But you never know. There could be an event where she ends up accidentally used as a podium. And it's very boring to sit through. And the politician's is rambling on, Traitorio or whoever it is that we'll have, or the king. So where were we? So not necessarily a creepy one, but an interesting, amusing one. We don't have to be tied to just creepy today. If you think of a funny story, guys, I don't mind if you submit a funny one instead. Or not even funny, wholesome, tragic. What are all the moods? What are all the moods? Let me look, because I've got these noted down on my phone. I was researching it. There's psychology behind it, and I thought it was pretty fascinating. It's called the 8 emotions, and joy is one. So joy could fall under happiness tropes, hope tropes, love, laughter, smiling, funny, heartwarming. Then the sadness, which is despair, tears, tear-jerkers, sadness tropes, anger tropes, annoyance, envy, jealousy, hatred, fear, anxiety, fear, screaming, nightmare fuel, Trust is another emotion, which friendship would come in. I guess that's when you finally get friendship with people. Disgust tropes, boredom, shame, anticipation, mystery, mind screw, and surprise, gut punch and shocking moments. So as you can see, I've listed off a bunch of different emotions there. And yes, I want Raindrop Chronicles to have a mixture of all of those, please. I want people playing the game to not know what emotions coming next, because my only issue with games that are literally just nothing but the sads and the feels is that people end up thinking then, oh, this is another sad moments that are going to come up. Yeah, time for another sad moment. It gets predictable, and then you get immune to the sadness because all that ever happens is sadness and you feel like it's forced. So yeah, lots of emotions. You don't know what's coming next. It's better then. Was Toy Story 3 the one with the prospector guy, or was that Toy Story 4? See, I don't even know. I don't even know what this Toy Story number I watched was. I think it might have been Toy Story 2 that I saw last. I don't even think I've seen Toy Story 3. Because folks in chat said that Toy Story 3 is apparently really dark. And I'm thinking, but it can't be as dark as Raindrop Chronicles because, well, the plans, it won't be as dark as the plans we have in mind for Raindrop Chronicles. Because it's still a kid's story, whereas this is totally, will never be a kid's story. Kids are banned from playing this game. Well, you're not banned, but you know, if you're a rebel, I guess you can play it. A section of guardrails with an in memoriam would also have dark implications. Oh, would it? I'm curious now. Expand on the implications. Are you suddenly very loud and echoey, or is that my speakers acting up again? Oh, it's on my end. Oh, was it? What happened, Matt? I think I'm fine. I don't think anything's gone wrong on my end. Unless the rest of chat. Am I alright, chat? Do I sound okay? Toy Story 2 had the prospector. Yeah, I would ask what's the dark moment in Toy Story 3, but some people might not appreciate getting spoiled in case they haven't seen it, so I won't ask. But yeah, we basically have come to the conclusion that Raindrop Chronicles is basically Toy Story for adults. So there's similar themes. Kids screwing around throwing stuff off the cliff end up slipping. Did they die? Did they die? I had opened the main Raindrop Chronicles website to check the lore, and the stream was embedded in it, so 2 of the streams was playing at once. Oh, right, that's it. Yes, I have the stream embedded on both the website and the lore Bible, but on my end it's on mute. So, in the past I accidentally had one of them on and then I realised, so I forever have them on mute now. And see, now I'm imagining Raindrop Chronicles having the dogs from Achewood. I'm going to Google that. Dogs from Achewood. Oh, that's a comic. If you want to put a relevant one of them in the Discord, feel free. Any that remind you of Raindrop Chronicles specifically, or that go, you know, because I'm all for the inspirations. All but one who was paralysed and survived by landing just right on another kid. Oh, really? That's quite dark for a kid's story, isn't it? Wow. I guess content can be quite dark for children, more than one thinks. I always got, talking about dark stories, and Disney even picks like animation stuff for kids, one that always freaked me out was Pinocchio. I was like so creeped out by that one. There was a particular moment in Pinocchio that I literally had nightmares from, and I thought, well, how is this even for children? Oh, that's not Toy Story 3. Oh, it was. And what was that for then? And can you just create an item called HM1 cut and use it to cut a bush to get through a path? A nod to Pokemon Red and Blue. I haven't even played Pokemon Red and Blue. I've played Pokemon Yellow, and I kind of was obsessed with that one, but then I never played any Pokemons after that because other games took over. I meant in Raindrop Chronicles. Oh, okay. Yeah, I somehow thought he was talking about Toy Story. But yes, and I was like, wow, that's dark. But yes, we can have the dark stuff in Raindrop Chronicles. Yeah, thanks for sharing that one. I'll have to make a note of that one too. Interesting, folks. Okay, where were we on our big list? Because we're dead behind. We're super behind. The ones I'm entering now were suggested like an hour ago. That's how behind we are. And now I'm reading the bit Met said an hour ago in stream where they asked, would the barrels be jealous of the tree? It's made me think of stuff now, because the barrels are all different, right? Let's think of the barrels as characters. I'd say Carol was the kind of barrel that would be jealous. Let's look at the barrels. Let's remind ourselves what they look like. Here they are. Now, Carol, jealous for sure. Meryl would be jealous. I think Hank's too nice to be jealous, and Oliver probably is too young and sweet to be jealous as well. Elvira could be the jealous type. Woody be jealous? It's interesting because they're such a diverse cast. These companions are. They're all very different in personality. So how one would feel about an issue or something could be very different for how another could feel. There's definitely a lot of personalities. Like Hank and Elvira are so different, and I kind of want to make them all very different. I don't want Meryl and Carol to be too similar. That's a risk as well. Like, they're both very loud barrels and very kind of vocal. But I would say that Meryl is a lot more trusting and softer in nature than Carol. I mean, Meryl embraces love a lot more easily than Carol, that's for sure. She's in love with Axel and she's very codependent with Axel, the oil drum. But Carol's the opposite. She would not fall in love with anybody, even a barrel. She wouldn't. So the fact that there's a romance story with her and the hero, if you go that route, is pretty crazy, because she wouldn't even love a barrel. She's very cold. Very cold, Carol. Cold Carol. And for what the guardrail was preventing, right, that could also be for where a cart rolled off and crashed. Interesting. And if memory... So if my memory is correct, you guys had an idea of there being a sort of minecart underground system within the Badlands, sort of between the Badlands and the mountains that are more colder and taller. I remember I've got some notes somewhere about a potential rail system. And I'll have to look back at those, because you guys are coming up with some really cool ideas, and a lot of them are very suitable for other zones that we have. So yeah, don't hold back. Don't necessarily feel you have to just talk about Lakefall and Everbloom Forest today, or even just the barrels. If you do get any other thoughts for creepy quests or whatever for other zones, feel free to say, because I'll just literally put it into the general section, general creepy disturbing ideas. If there's not really, if it's not fitting for this current setting, then it'll go there, because I'm breaking it all down into sections. Hi Nightmare, how you doing? Carol in a barrel. Does Carol do a barrel roll, and do we call it a Carol roll then? Maybe. It's not the first time a roll has been mentioned, that's for sure. She might find herself rolling a few times in this saga. She's rolled. We've already done a roll animation for her actually a while back, because she rolls out of a cart. So she'll probably roll in many occasions. And in Toy Story 3, Andy's grown up and donated his toys to a daycare. I don't want to spoil anything, but it gets dark in places. But it can't get too dark, right? Because it is for kids. What's the age rating to Toy Story? Like, does it get as dark as some of the stuff? Is it as dark as, say, this story that we've got here? Let's get it up. Xavier's. Is it as dark as that? What age rating would that story be that Xavier submitted, guys? It definitely doesn't get this dark, yeah, for sure. I'm hungry. Oh my gosh, how is it this time already? Guys, this has been an incredible, fun stream. I'm going to put trivia in chat in a sec, so be prepared, because I am going to give, you'll get a point. There you go, it's on the banner in the corner right there. It is the last day though. It is the last day of the month, so you know, we'll have to see if the trivia will affect who is Lord Master of the Month. We don't know, but whoever's top of the leaderboard at the end of this stream will be the Lord Master of the Month this month. And I haven't finished putting in all the ideas, everybody, just yet. I'm an hour behind because we've had so many good ideas today that I just couldn't keep up. So there's not even enough time to get them all in, but I will get them in. When we have Monday's stream, I'll get make sure every single one is in. We'll update ourselves. I'll give you the updated link, and we will be carrying on though with the Carol dialogue starting Monday, and we'll finish off that scene, and we will probably spend Wednesday's stream getting Main Quest 2's dialogue into the Lore Bible as well, because it's not in yet and it needs to be in. And then it'll be stream 200 celebrations. There's a couple of announcements I'm going to be making on stream 200. You know the one of them already, which is the new logo, so that will be shown off and celebrated and hyped. And there's one other thing as well I'm going to be announcing that's really something pretty cool too. So it'll be a fun celebration stream 200 will be. And I don't know what we'll be actually doing on stream 200, which is next Friday, by the way. Either we'll be finalising dialogue stuff or doing more story stuff, one or the other. We'll see. But we've had a good chat about backstory ideas, and we'll be sitting on a lot of these for a while. It's not really the like time right now that we'll be like deciding what Carol's backstory is. It's a bit premature, but when the time comes, when I do decide we're going to figure it out, we'll look back at this big document and decide together the major events that shaped Carol into the person she is today, what they're going to be. Thank you for the stream. You're welcome, man. Trivia time. And Since an actual human baby dies 12 plus and Elvira doesn't seem like she likes having her wisdom questioned, so I guess she might respect Legendary Tree but dislike that he's far too old for her to claim since she has more experience than him. Yes. Interesting. Yeah, I could imagine Elvira having respect for anybody that's very wise, because Elvira's a snob, isn't she? So she just doesn't like mongrels, like as she calls them. Anything that's not like a barrel she hates. A barrel being used for human trafficking would probably be too dark, but maybe for a kidnapping. And so the barrels get kidnapped to get used for kidnapping. Basket. Hello, Madame Rain Kitty. Hi, Richard. How are you doing? It's good to see you. We've got so many cool ideas, and you know, even if we only take several, even if we only go ahead with a few for Carol's backstory, you never know. One could fit as a present day plot in the future, in a future episode, as a plot point somewhere along the line, because it's always good to have such a list of ideas, because you never know, some could be perfect for a future thing, even if it's not part of the backstory. Basket. Yes, you got it, Van. That means you're Lore Master of the Month, I believe, Van. I think you are. So you still get that special role in the Discord. I predict you're going to have that for a very long time. That's my prediction. How are you doing, Richard? It's good to see you. Alright, guys, who'd like to come along for a raid with me? That would be fantastic if so. I'm already looking forward to next week's stream. I'm super hyped for stream 200 just because there's a couple of really cool things to talk to show you guys. So, hi Pooh. Roots and Rumours is the title for episode 1, by the way, in case anyone forgot what won the poll. It's Roots and Rumours. So, huzzah. Dad, thank you so much for 37 months. Oh my goodness. You're one of my longest subs. Thank you so much for the support. How you doing, Dav? You all are wonderful, and my work schedule never lines up with the stream, but I hope everything is going great. It's super fun. We've had a really good creepy idea stream, and even if, like, I know we're ending stream now, guys, but if a creepy idea springs to your mind over the weekend or whenever, pop it in the Discord. You know, if you think of something, it's not the end. Just because the creepy Halloween stream is over now doesn't mean the ideas are over. If something springs to mind, feel free to pop it in the Discord, because you know sometimes the good ideas come late as well. But we've had some really good ones, so it's awesome. How you doing though, Dav? I hope you've been well. Hope you've been super well. Get to remain orange on Discord. Yay. Okay. So I'm gonna just hide the thing. I should put that. I'll put a pretty view of our map in the background while I'm looking for someone to raid. It's better than just seeing nothing but black screen. So yes, next stream Monday we're going back to finishing main quest 1 scene 3, and that'll be fun. That'll be fun. Okay, so, and exclamation mark raid, guys. It'd be awesome if you could come along with us and say hi. My goodness, it's a busy day. So many people already that I'm noticing. But I'm gonna send us over to someone who's doing a charity stream today. 12-hour charity stream actually, and her name is Handel. She's super nice. She's been playing Final Fantasy 14 a lot lately, and she came into the stream the other day and it was super nice, so I'll send her some love today. There we go then, guys. It's a spooky stream and a charity stream, so I will see you all another day. Thanks for being amazing. Take care, everybody. Appreciate you all. Thanks for the ideas today.